But does this report add up? Is there more to it? Let's ask Joe Gamaldi. He's the National VP of Fraternal Order of Police. And Bernard Zapor is joining us, a former special agent in charge with the ATF. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on. We appreciate that. Joe, I'll start with you. The New York Times also reporting on these new crime stats, and they're stating this, quote, the FBI's report showed that there were about 2,500 fewer homicides in 2023 that year than in 2022. A decline of 11.6%. That was the largest year-to-year decline since national record keeping began in 1960. The Times citing one crime data analyst there. Can we get your reaction to this, again, FBI report? Again, some are saying that many of these cities that are full of violent crime aren't reporting to the FBI. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they're essentially telling the public, don't believe your lying eyes. They failed to mention in their faulty reporting system that nearly 30% of agencies haven't even reported their crime numbers. So maybe those numbers would be a bit higher if some of these bigger cities had actually reported to the FBI. And the truth of the matter is, violent crime is a major problem in this country. We have averaged over 20,000 homicides the last 3 years. We haven't seen those numbers since the mid-90s. And we know why. It's fueled by far-left policies that have completely failed our urban communities, revolving door criminal justice system, rogue DAs, activist judges, open borders, which have all combined to lead to a homicide rate of black men of 12 times the rate of anyone else. Nobody seems to be talking about that. Also, no one seems to want to talk about the National Victim Survey, which says that crime is rampant and that people are actually scared to report crimes because we're not following through and prosecuting people. Or why don't you just ask police officers, us? We saw 378 police officers shot last year. That is a record number since we started tracking the data in 2018. Not getting any better this year. We've already seen over 275 police officers shot. For reference, in all of 2018, we only saw 237 police officers shot, and we still have 3 months to go this year. So give me a break that crime isn't a problem in this country.
Bernard, a lot of experts who've read the report say that Americans just simply aren't getting the full story here because of the way that the agency is collecting its data. They're missing about 15%, or they're missing the data from about 15% of these agencies across the country. And beyond that, the phrasing, violent crime is down, that's very misleading because while missing all the data, while with the missing data, it might say that violent crime is down, other crimes are spiking. We're seeing theft spiking 20%, burglary spiking 20% as well, right? So these are things that Americans are dealing with every single day. Jewelry stores getting broken into, right? Business owners having to be scared when they go into work and stand behind the counter. Oh my gosh, is someone going to come in and rob my store? Your reaction to that?
There's some major shortcomings with the UCR data in general. Number one, underreporting. Two, is the reporting can be covered in a way that paints a better picture for your municipality, for example, and that stuff does happen. Secondly, just like analyzing stock market returns over a time period, the UCR data on National Crime Index is you want to look at micro and macro trends. So, one of the voids here is the violence that was created since 2020 and 2023, dealing specifically with civil unrest. We had mass assaults, mass arsons. All that stuff was not generally reported on individual reports of incident and then would go into municipal or county or state UCR data up to the criminal and justice reporting system in the Department of Justice, and FBI analyzes it. So the data itself is flawed. And then again, looking at it in a very micro picture gives a false picture. There are some trends here buried in here that people are not paying attention to, and one is which is property crimes, even the underreported ones, are exponentially higher, which always historically precedes violent crime. So we had the spike in property crime and now the spike that's underreported in violent crime. So it has to be taken with a grain of salt, and it does not currently paint an accurate picture of what's happening in the United States.